So this has been in the news for a little bit recently, and it's just too good to not talk about. This just needs we cannot forget this, which I find so hilariously ironic. We cannot ever forget what is going on right now with this Alzheimer research fraud, because this is academia, and this is modern science. And that's why it's so hard to break yourself from uh, understanding that science and the scientific method are two completely different things, and that academia has nothing to do with the scientific method whatsoever. And it's going to be really hard to not make this video just an hour-long ramble, because it's very personal for me. I have a lot of personal experience in academia, and I know how it's an emperor has no clothes situation, and I know that it's a bunch of phonies at the top, and I understand that peer review is a bunch of bullshit, and just because your peers look at something and say, oh yeah, that looks fine to me, that doesn't somehow make it truth. That is not the source of truth. Things are either true or false uh, immediately, always. Truth never changes. All truths have been known since the beginning of time and never change. And anyways, 2 decades of Alzheimer research was based on deliberate fraud by 2 scientists that has cost billions of dollars and millions of lives. Never forget about this. And this isn't the only example of this. And the sad part is that oftentimes when this happens, it just gets brushed aside and people forget about it. And a lot of times, the scary thing is a lot of times the truth comes out like this, but they'll just keep marching forward with the lies like it never even happened. And yeah, I could talk so much about this, and I don't want to ramble, so maybe I'll do more videos about this in the future. They still teach about smallpox blankets in school. I guarantee to you, you could still find college courses, high school courses all over the world. I mean, probably in America, they talk about this, because America's schools are full of propaganda to make the white man feel bad about being born the way that they're born, which is nobody should feel bad about being born the way that they're born. Okay. So anyways, this is one example that you just need to go research it. And this needs to also be in your pocket of examples of peer review doesn't mean anything. Just because something is academic doesn't mean anything. These people are fraudsters and liars. Liars are in academia too. Especially when your paycheck, that's the thing too, is it really comes down to money. When you're in academia, you don't get paid a lot of money just to teach. The only way to make money in academia is through extra stuff and grants. And uh, you do not get paid money to come out with research that is inconclusive. Or see, this is where it's such a big topic to get into. The whole idea behind, here, I have slides about it. Peer review. The thing about peer review is it's about the same idea as internal investigations. Why do people think that peer review is this like beacon of truth? But then in the same, they'll still think that an internal investigation of the police is a bunch of bullshit. How's that any different? How is being reviewed by your peers any different than an internal investigation by the police? Literally no difference. So I think it's funny when people think that, oh, somebody's peer took a glance at it and said, everything looks fine to me, and then it must be great. Especially since my personal experience in academia comes from a field where just because somebody is your peer doesn't mean that they'll even have any idea of what you're talking about. So there's so much stuff out there. Just because something gets published doesn't make it true. That should be, people should know that. People should understand that about truth. But the way that we get programmed is to not think rationally. We should know that just because something passes through peer review, that is not what makes something truthful or not. But we get brainwashed and start to just believe in this science thing I believe in the scientific method. I think that God created Earth with real things that can be studied. But just because something has Science stamped on it does not make it true. And that's something that people need to wake up from. Publish or perish. So here's just a huge problem. And especially when it comes to more of like the biological chemistry type research things. So the biggest thing in academia is I kind of hinted at this earlier. You don't get paid money in academia to just teach. That's not what it's about. And a lot of times what's expected of these higher people is to publish, publish, publish. They want them publishing so many papers. And just the fact that they're encouraged to publish, 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 right there, that automatically means that there's going to be more wrong stuff published. Since there's an increase in, we want you to just publish stuff, that you're going to get people publishing falsities. That's the way that common sense. If you're encouraging people to do a lot of something, then more mistakes are going to be popping up. That's common sense. And another thing about this publish or perish thing and the whole money, grants, and that stuff, nobody gets paid to try to reproduce anything. For the findings of a study to be reproducible means that results obtained by an experiment or observational study or in a statistical analysis of a data set should be achieved again with a high degree of reliability when the study is replicated. How often in academia are people spending time trying to replicate things? Never. Never. This is actually something that just came to my mind. When you're getting your PhD, one of the biggest aspects of what you're doing is they want you to develop some sort of original research, which, if you think about it, shouldn't all of the lower level PhD people should be trying to reproduce. They should be going and reproducing claims and trying to reestablish them and make sure that they're true. But the thing is that, when you have publish or perish, and when nobody gets paid to reproduce anything and nobody is spending time reproducing anything, it's a catastrophic failure. You have people are writing so many journals, so many things, and nobody is sitting there to try to reproduce anything. It becomes just this giant, it reminds me of like Katamari. You have this giant out of control snowball that's just rolling by, and there's nothing that can stop it. The academia just needs to be burned to the ground at this point. So none of this stuff is being reproduced, and it almost reminds me of the way that the MSM, the media, you know how if you try to trace back a story, every once in a while you'll be trying to trace back a story and you'll get caught in this loop. It'll be like this person quoted this person who quoted this person who quoted this person, and you find yourself in like this loop. And you're like, where did this originate? And it's like nobody is actually fact checking, or you can't even find the source. You just see a bunch of people citing other people in this loop. That happens in academia too. Nobody is going and actually retesting the original hypothesis. Everybody just assumed that it was true because it got published. Must be true, it got published, and they're all just running off of that. And it goes to show you that original thought is not fostered in the 20 years. There are 20 years people in academia were just going, oh, this must be true, it was published. So that shows you how smart the smartest people, these are the smartest people, and none of them, well, see, that's where it's not true. It's not that none of them, if you did have your own theories, and if you were being questioning of the status quo, you're not going to get published. You're not going to get funding to go do your own thing. Academia is so messed up, and it does not seek after the truth. That's the point of this video. The taste map of the tongue you learned in school is all wrong. There is so much bullshit in science, and it gets disproven, and people just still go on believing it. People still believe this one. People still believe the smallpox thing. I guarantee to you that people still teach about the smallpox blankets, even though it has been proven that somebody made that up. And I guess that's just a big thing. People are liars, and liars go into all professions. All professions are full of liars who absolutely will deceive people in order for personal gain. And in the sciences, when everything's behind closed doors and when the person showing the results is the same person doing the experiment, oh boy, there's a lot of bias there. Think of the amount of bias when the person who's performing the experiment is the same exact person as the one collecting the data, is the same exact person as the one reporting that data. So many instances for them to fudge the numbers so that it comes out looking good. And I could even get into statistics of it, that 5%, you know, depending on your confidence interval, you're going to get false positives. So you always should be reproducing things, because you could do an experiment and get a false positive. Just because your experiment comes out right one time, that doesn't even mean that it was true. Statistics is more complicated than that. You can get false positives. And anyways, I was going to say something else, but I kind of forgot. Maybe I'll just do another video on this sometime. But people get really bent out of shape when you try to inform them that they have faith, just like I have faith in Jesus. I didn't meet Jesus, but I have faith that Jesus came to earth and died and was resurrected. And I have no problem saying that I have faith in that, and that I have faith in God. But if you try to point out that people have faith in scientists and stuff, they go ballistic. They really think that they're above religious people, but they have no clue that they have faith in these boneheads in academia that can't even tie their shoelaces half the time. All right, that's it for this video. God bless everyone.